And the major shift in my life, and this is what grace was that it is finished, that I already have my Father's love. I already am fully his son. I don't get a say in that. And that he's pleased with me regardless of what I do. So now I get to live in the overflow of that space. I don't know if that resonates with you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've always loved that passage because people's fixation on what do I need to do or who do I need to become in order for God to be pleased with me. I mean, that is an
Yeah.
obsession for a lot of people in the Christian
Right.
subculture. So it's a perfect,
And the premise is that he isn't
of
already.
course, yeah,
Is
but
that
it's something
it starts out with
we have to go out and secure for ourselves. And we do that by how we
right.
live and how serious we are about following Jesus and those sorts of things. And so I love to show it's a great passage to preach the gospel from because when the Father says, "This is my son, in him I love him, and I'm pleased with
Yeah.
him."
Yeah.
Yes, everything you said is absolutely true. That pleasure came before miraculous signs and wonders. It didn't come as a
Sure.
result of miraculous signs and
Yeah.
wonders. But I also love the fact that it's speaking to an objectivity in the sense that Jesus, in that sense, the pleasure of God the Father in God the Son has now been, because of Jesus' work on our behalf, imputed to us. So,
Yeah.
one of the great illustrations that I like to use is about a guy who is massively in debt. Massively in debt. I mean, tens of millions of dollars in debt. This guy made terrible financial decisions and put himself and his family in serious debt, debt that he could never pay back. In fact, it was a debt so large that it was not only strapping him and straining his marriage and relationships and hanging over his entire life like a dark cloud, but that his kids and his grandkids would most likely now be strapped by his bad financial decisions and the debt that he accrued. Goes into the bank one day, and this guy lives in a state of depression because of this. Goes into the bank one day to try to negotiate a lower interest rate. The president meets him in the lobby and says, "Jason, you're not going to believe this, but some guy came in here today and paid your debt off in full." Full. And, Jason is going, "Okay, where are the hidden cameras? This isn't funny. This isn't a joke." And the bank president's like, "No, I'm dead serious, man. Your debt has been paid off. That $30-40 million you had, debt that you accrued, you don't have anymore. It's gone." Well,
Yeah.
Jason starts to believe and go, "This guy isn't joking. He's serious." And just about the time he's ready to run out the door and run home to tell his wife, the bank president says, "Hold on, stop. That's not it. The same guy that
Right.
got rid of your debt, paid off your debt,
Yeah.
deposited $100
Yeah.
million into your account. So that even if
Yeah.
your spending habits never change, you can
Right.
never, ever go into debt again." That's the gospel. It's not simply that a
Come on.
debt has been paid, it's that a
Yeah.
deposit has been made.
There you
And
go.
that radical word of grace is mind-blowingly transformative. So, for example, if I come home, if I've had a bad day and I'm pissy toward my wife Stacy and I'm taking it out on her even though she had nothing to do with it, and instead of retaliating, she walks up to me and puts her hands on my face and very tenderly says, "Honey, um, clearly you've had a bad day. I'm sorry about that. I just want you to know that I love you and I'm here to listen to you no matter what you have to say." That's
Yeah.
not going to make me want to keep being a jerk. Okay, it's going to stop me
Right.
dead in my tracks and make me go,
Right.
"Gosh, honey, I'm sorry. I just, it has nothing to do with you," and blah, blah, blah. I mean, in other words, her grace
Kindness.
will be the
Yeah.
thing that stops me dead in my
Yeah.
tracks and points me in
Yeah.
a different direction. And so
Yeah.
this gospel isn't just something theologically stimulating. This is functional. It is
Yeah.
practical. It is It is a good news from another world that transforms us in this world, in our relationships, in our own thinking about God. My daughter and I were talking earlier, and the question that comes up from time to time is, if you walk in the door and Jesus is sitting at the table, what is his expression when he sees you? And if you ask that question, as I have to a lot of people who've been in church for their whole lives, and I used to answer it this way too, I would say mildly disappointed, mildly annoyed. Because he knows all my secrets. He knows everything I've done and everything I've failed to do. He knows I've fallen short. And that's very telling. Rather than going, I can walk in the door with blood on my hands, dirt under my fingernails, and failure on my day's resume, and Jesus is sitting at the table, and he jumps up, his eyes light up, smile from ear to ear, and just says, "Welcome home. I've missed you. I'm so glad to see you." Okay? Now how people envision the way God sees them has some significant horizontal effects in our daily lives.